Tryambakam yajamahe Sugandhim pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva bandhanan Mrityor mukshiyamamritaat. What happens when a man is falsely accused, humiliated, and driven away from the very place he helped create? Does he seek revenge, or does he turn his pain into prayer? On the sacred Brahmagiri mountain in Maharashtra stands Tryambakeshvara, one of the 12 revered Jyotirlingas of Lord Shiva. From this holy land also begins the journey of the Godāvarī, one of the India's most sacred rivers. But the origin of Tryambakeshvara is not only the story of a Jyotirliṅga or the descent of a holy river. It is the story of a great sage whose kindness was answered with jealousy, whose innocence was covered by a cruel accusation, and whose suffering eventually brought him face to face with Mahādeva. This is the story of sage Gautama, a man who used the power of his penance to save countless lives, who remained humble even when he was treated unfairly, and who asked for the welfare of the world even after Lord Shiva offered him any boon he desired. How did the devotion of sage Gautama bring Gaṅgā to Brahmagiri? Why did she become known as Gautamī Godāvarī? And why did Mahādeva choose this sacred land as his eternal home in the form of Tryambakeshvara Jyotirliṅga? Let us return to the ancient age, when a terrible drought had taken hold of the earth, and sage Gautama lived peacefully with his devoted wife Ahalya upon the sacred Brahmagiri mountain. Sage Gautama was a respected sage who had performed intense penance for thousands of years. His wife Ahalya was virtuous, devoted, and pure-hearted. Together, they lived a simple life of prayer, penance, and service to others. Then, a terrible drought struck the land. Year after year, no rain fell. The rivers dried up, the trees withered, and not even the smallest green sprout could be seen upon the earth. There was no water to drink, no food to eat. People suffered from hunger and thirst, while birds, animals, and forest creatures wandered helplessly in search of water. The drought continued for 100 years. Many people and sages were forced to leave their places. Those who remained survived through meditation and pranayama. Everywhere sage Gautama looked, he saw suffering, and his compassionate heart could not bear it. Wanting to help every living being, an intense penance to Varunadeva, the Lord of the Waters, was begun by sage Gautama. For almost 6 months, he remained completely absorbed in prayer and pranayama. At last, Varunadeva, the Lord of the Waters, appeared before him and offered him a boon. Nothing was requested for sage Gautama's own comfort. Instead, rain was sought so that the people, animals, and all other living beings could be saved. But the drought had occurred according to the will of the gods, and Varunadeva explained that their command could not be overturned. Sage Gautama was then asked to choose another boon. Once again, he thought only of those who were suffering. A source of water that would never dry up was requested so that relief could be brought to every living being. Moved by this selfless prayer, Varunadeva asked Gautama to dig a small pit in the ground. A small ditch, only a hand's depth, was prepared, and it was filled with divine water. The water was blessed to remain there forever. The place was also declared sacred and it was said that charity, worship, penance, sacrifices, and offerings performed there would bring everlasting spiritual merit. With this never-ending supply of water, grains, fruits, flowers were soon grown. Slowly, the dry and lifeless forest became green again. News of this miraculous water spread across the land. Thousands of people and sages arrived at Brahmagiri with their wives, children, and disciples. People came from every direction, and birds, animals, and other forest creatures also gathered there. Everyone was welcomed by sage Gautama. Water and food were shared freely, and no one was allowed to remain hungry. Through sage Gautama's compassion, Brahmagiri became a place of life, peace, and abundance. Even while the drought continued elsewhere, the land around his hermitage remained green and beautiful. But as time passed, some of those who had received sage Gautama's help forgot what had been done for them. One day, sage Gautama's disciples were sent to collect water. When they reached the reservoir, they were stopped by the wives of some of the other sages. The women insisted that they would collect water first, and that sage Gautama's disciples must wait. The disciples quietly returned and informed Ahalya of what had happened. Ahalya accompanied them to the reservoir. No argument was started, nor were any harsh words spoken. The women were gently calmed, and the water needed for sage Gautama's daily worship was collected. Although Ahalya had behaved peacefully, the other women felt insulted. On returning to their homes, the incident was distorted and presented differently to their husbands. Slowly, anger and jealousy were created in the minds of the sages. The help once received from sage Gautama was forgotten. Instead of gratitude, a plan was formed to drive sage Gautama and Ahalya away from Brahmagiri. Lord Ganesha was worshipped, and a boon was requested from him. The sages wanted Gautama to be disgraced and removed from the hermitage. The request was not accepted. Lord Ganesha warned them that it was wrong to harm the person who had saved them from hunger and thirst. Misery should never be brought upon someone who had once brought happiness and relief. Lord Ganesha insisted the sages to ask or choose another boon, but all his warning was ignored. Again and again, the same request was repeated. It was then explained that their plan would not destroy sage Gautama. Instead, it would eventually bring him even greater glory. Still, the sages refused to change their minds. Bound by the devotion with which he had been worshipped, Lord Ganesha finally allowed their request to unfold. Soon afterward, the form of a weak and sick cow was assumed by him. Staggering and trembling, the cow entered sage Gautama's field and began eating the grains and barley. When she was noticed by sage Gautama, no attempt was made to strike or injure the cow. A small bunch of grass was used only to guide her away from the crops. But the moment the blades of grass touched the cow fell to the ground and appeared to die. The jealous sages and their wives had been hiding nearby. They immediately rushed forward, accusing sage Gautama of killing a cow. And sage Gautama was left in complete shock. No harm had been intended. The cow had only been touched gently with a few blades of grass. Yet, After seeing her lying upon the ground, sage Gautama believed that a terrible sin had somehow been committed through him. Ahalya was called, and the incident was shared with her in great distress. Sage Gautama could not understand how such a thing had happened. He wondered whether Lord Shiva had become displeased with him and what could now be done. The other sages began insulting Gautama and Ahalya. It was also declared that sage Gautama's presence had made the entire hermitage impure. As long as he remained there, they claimed, the gods and ancestors would not accept their offerings. Harsh words were spoken, stones were thrown, and sage Gautama and Ahalya were ordered to leave Brahmagiri immediately. Even then, no anger was shown by sage Gautama. He did not fight, no attempt was made to prove his innocence. Together with his wife and his disciples, he quietly left the hermitage and settled some distance away. For 15 days, sage Gautama remained deeply troubled, believing himself to be impure. His usual sacred ceremonies were not even performed. Finally, the sages were approached with folded hands, and the means of becoming free from the supposed sin was humbly requested. Whatever act of atonement was prescribed would be accepted. At first, no answer was given, but sage Gautama continued to ask with humility. At last, an extremely difficult series of acts was prescribed. He was told to travel around the earth 3 times while announcing his supposed sin. He was also asked to observe a sacred vow, circumambulating Brahmagiri mountain many times, and bring Gaṅgā to the land, create and worship countless earthen Shivalingas, and perform Abhisheka with 100 pots of sacred water. Although these acts were almost impossible, everything was accepted by sage Gautama. Together with his wife, he started circumambulating Brahmagiri mountain. Shivalingas were created from the sacred earth, and Mahādeva was worshipped with complete faith. Their disciples also joined them and served with devotion. Their entire hearts were placed at the feet of Mahādeva. The accusation was still believed to be true. All that was known was that Mahādeva alone could offer refuge. At last, their sincere devotion was answered. Lord Shiva appeared before them. The moment Lord Shiva's beautiful form was seen, sage Gautama was filled with joy. Again and again he bowed at the Lord's lotus feet. A boon was offered, but sage Gautama asked for only one thing: to be freed from the sin he believed he had committed. His innocence was immediately declared by Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva said, "Sage Gautama, you have committed no sin. You were deceived by those wicked sages. You are already pure. People can become purified merely by seeing you. And how can a devotee like you be a sinner?" said Mahādeva. The entire plan of the jealous sages was then revealed. The accusation had been false, and the death of the cow had been part of a cruel deception. No sin had ever touched sage Gautama. And after hearing the truth, sage Gautama was so surprised. But no anger arose within him. No punishment was requested also for those who caused him so much pain. Instead, with folded hands, he asked, "Mahādeva, those sages have actually helped me. If they had not treated me in this way, how would I have received your divine darshana? Because of what they did, I have now seen you." Mahādeva was deeply pleased. Even after being falsely accused, insulted, and driven away, no hatred had been allowed to enter sage Gautama's heart. The pain inflicted upon him was seen as the path that had brought him to the feet of Mahādeva. Once again, any boon was offered to sage Gautama. Justice could have been requested, honor, wealth, or blessings could have been sought, but once again, sage Gautama sought only the welfare of the world, and that was placed before Mahādeva. The descent of the sacred Gaṅgā to Brahmagiri was requested, so that her waters could purify and bless all living beings. And at the Lord's command, Gaṅgā appeared before sage Gautama in the form of a beautiful goddess. She was welcomed with reverence and worshipped with folded hands. Gaṅgā agreed to purify sage Gautama and his followers, but she wished to return to her heavenly abode afterward. Mahādeva, however, asked her to remain upon Brahmagiri for the welfare of the world. This holy place became known as Kushavartha Kunda. Even today, it is one of the most sacred places at Tryambakeśvara, and it is honored as the source of the Godāvarī river. Lord Shiva remained upon Brahmagiri as Tryambakeśvara Jyotirliṅga, while Gaṅgā continued to flow as Gautamī Godāvarī. Tryambaka means the three-eyed Lord. The two eyes of Mahādeva are believed to represent the sun and the moon, while his third eye represents the fire of divine wisdom, the light that destroys ignorance and reveals the highest truth. The story of Tryambakeshvara reminds us that we may not always understand why difficulties enter our lives. Sometimes the very experience that appears to break us becomes the path that carries us closer to the divine. May Lord Shiva open our inner eye and remove the darkness of ignorance. And may the life of sage Gautama inspire us to remain kind, humble, and devoted even when we are misunderstood or treated unfairly. May Jagat Pita Mahādeva bless us all. Keep seeking, keep chanting, keep surrendering. Om Namah Shivaya.